Sudden Strike 4 is an RTS game. What RTS stands for is real-time strategy. So it's like a sandbox type war game, you know, like you play with your G.I. Joes in the sandbox, but it's a little more complicated. You can give them commands and stuff like that. It's similar to Command and Conquer series, the Army Men for, I think, GameCube, Dungeons, and so on. What you're trying to do is you pit your strategy and tactics and strategy against an opponent and see how it goes. Now the game itself consists of there's a single player mode, multiplayer, which is online only, and then of course the settings and stuff you can set however you want. Now there's extras, that's footage you can unlock if you do really good and you beat the missions. The single player mode has a tutorial if you're starting out. So, like I said, each mission has objectives, and you can control the troops and command them how you want.
Reporting for duty.
Okay, like here I'm telling them to do an attack move, and they'll go. If they encounter stuff, they may have some problems and stuff, but they'll pretty much do what you're supposed to. You tell them to do, to a point.
Enemy. Waiting orders. You need ammo, fuel, or repair?
And like I said, it starts out fairly easy, and then it
duty.
gets a little more complicated as you go.
Gun ready.
Like in this case, we're advancing the Germans against France, and it's pretty easy to
Come on.
capture weapons. And that's one of the cool things about this game is you can capture enemy weapons. And another thing I would like to add is you got to watch your fuel supply. I'll show here in just a minute here.
Come on.
Each thing is equipped with a certain amount of fuel and weapons. You can see the medium tank. It's running quite a bit of fuel, but you got to fuel up as you go. It's kind of cool. They can drive through trees. You can command them to go somewhere, or they'll keep going, or you can just tell them to go somewhere. If you tell them to go somewhere, they will they'll go till they fight. If you command them to go somewhere, they will just keep going, even if they encounter resistance. So, for example, you have a repair vehicle that can be used to repair.
Ready, sir.
All your trucks that don't work. If they're not working, they'll have that apostrophe with a triangle by them. So, for example, you can have your soldiers hidden in a house and stuff.
Shoot them.
One of the other things I like about it is that, let's say you want to select a bunch of units at once, and you're not wanting to, go from unit to unit to the unit, because it can be cumbersome and time-consuming, and you can be losing, as you just hit the select button with X, and then push down, and then you can all of a sudden select a bunch of troops, and
Got it.
they can do whatever you want. There's also supply depots that you can use to refuel your vehicles or restock your vehicles with both fuel and ammo.
Affirmative. Ready, sir.
And there's supply trucks as well as depots. Kind of important that you have your army supplied in a tight battle. Sometimes you got to manage your fuel, manage your artillery stuff, and so forth. Now there's also a zoom in feature that can you can zoom in to what angle you want, so you get the battle up close if you'd like, or if that's not working for you, you can always zoom back out and take it in a full view. Now, one thing I will say is I played the
Orders.
Yes, sir. These guys get anti-tank mines. Yeah, they got like grenades and stuff they can toss out of the trenches and stuff. So infantry can be completed how you want. Yeah, it's pretty cool how it is. Like I said, I like there's a zoom in feature. You can kind of get an idea of what you want. I think best off though is if it's on the 4K. I know I played initially on a 32-inch. Couldn't quite see the soldiers as good, but yeah, definitely love this game in the 4K. Now, repair vehicles can also be used to build bridges. You have to scroll up the menu, you go to build pontoon, and then you simply select it, and it's going to build it piece by piece. Now, you want to be careful when you're building number one that you have enough building supplies. This one's at 972 out of 1,000, and you also want to make sure that you have the proper artillery support and so forth.
Come on.
That's not artillery. Let's see what I got. Oh, here's an artillery one here.
Coordinates, sir.
Here's an assault gun. You want artillery range, to protect your vehicle, because your vehicle can be wiped out while you're trying to build a repair bridge. And yeah, it's no fun. It's no fun running a mission and then running out. They usually give you enough. Once you do enough missions, you kind of get the feel for it. When you start out, it's a little slow, but once you get a feel for it, and you know what you're doing, it can be a lot of fun.
Affirmative.
So in this campaign, I'm playing as the Soviets trying to stop an oncoming German attack. Trying to take advantage of my weapons here. Got fog.
Ready, sir.
Trying to hide my position.
Hostile units.
Vehicles operational. Slowly advancing there. Keep the smoke discharge going.
We're ready, sir.
There's a lot of different options. It's kind of cool. This is a trench warfare. You can have your soldiers in the trench or outside of the trench. Highly recommended that they're in the trench. Otherwise, they'll get mowed down pretty fast, like it did in that last offensive that I showed you from house-to-house combat. So what I like about this game is there's a huge style difference in how teams fight and so forth. Different battle strategies and tactics and different types of troops. And if you pay a lot of attention, it makes the missions a little easier to do. If you don't, it makes it more challenging. But it's fun because you can change different tactics and strategies depending on what type of opposition you're facing and what type of situations.
Any orders, sir?
With the terrain and so forth.
On the way.
Here I've taken control of the windmill. And yeah, taking on some decent amount of fire. But hey, we'll get through it, right?
Proceed further east and capture the pontoon bridge the Jerry's built.
So yeah, sometimes the combat can be pretty quick. Sometimes it can be more challenging depending on what the matchups are and so forth. Here,
Infantry moving.
I just tore through a turret gun. Now it's house-to-house fighting. I'm probably moving a little too fast and going to encounter some heavy opposition. You can see it's kind of cool. Troops will do whatever you say, however fast you go, and so forth. House-to-house fighting, trench warfare too. You manage your tanks. You might want to manage, how your troops are. In this case, I didn't put any troops inside the house, and I'm going to lose them right away. So I'm going to put this guy inside. Go inside. Oh, he's dead. Anyway. Yeah, see, my troops are just getting slaughtered because I brought them in bad tactics. In retrospect, I probably should have used artillery support. It's slow. But yeah, it's pretty cool. You can do like all kinds of stuff. You got houses. You can stick your soldiers in houses. You got tanks, artillery. There's a bunch of other stuff I haven't even got to yet. Yeah. Just to reiterate, artillery is kind of important in this game, as well as tank deployment.
Ready to attack.
You want to be able to protect your artillery or keep them away possible. Make sure they have enough ammo. Otherwise, if you run out, it's no good having artillery that's out of ammo. You know. It's really fun. There's a lot of strategy and so and some pretty long and challenging missions. So here's a contrast where I'm playing. I'm actually fighting on the ice and trying to stop an attack coming on the ice. And you can see there's aircraft flying below. You can actually shoot the aircraft down. Certain missions you can actually use the aircraft to bomb enemy positions. You have a limited amount. It's not unlimited. You need, you know, for cover fire and stuff. Here I got anti-aircraft gun, which is kind of neat. So I can deploy these at the right spot. I can take out, you know, enemy aircraft and so forth. Yeah, like I said, this is a really, really sweet game. If you like RTS or real-time strategy, command and conquer type games, this is definitely something I had to own, and I'm glad I own it. And you know, I played through all the missions. I beat all the missions at least once, and I'll probably occasionally play it from time to time because I like playing these type of games. It's can be fun and challenging. Like I said, here's a bunch of enemies coming across on the ice, and the question is, do I have proper defenses set up for them? Oh, you're underwater. Good. Oh, should have played my anti-aircraft loader. Yeah. But yeah, this is a really, really, really sweet game. A lot of fun to play. A little bit challenging. You got to move pretty fast. So at certain times here, let's see what I got here. Oh, there's more reinforcements with the anti-aircraft gun. You got to move, you know, quickly. Try to deploy them.
Infantry moving.
Different types of missions and so forth. But yeah, a lot of fun. I'm enjoying playing it right now, and I definitely enjoyed it. Definitely worth buying. Definitely worth taking a look at if you like RTS type games. You know, the really nice thing about this, like I said, is there's a lot of different types of missions, different styles, so you don't get the same boring back and forth. You know, you done one, you done them all. You get to, you know, change up strategies and tactics. Pretty cool stuff.
Our scouts report that enemy.
If you're starting out, now if you're more seasoned, you know, you don't need to do the skirmish and so forth. There's basically 3 different campaigns you can do. There's a German campaign, there's a Soviet campaign, and the Allied campaign. Each one of the campaigns, let's say, for example, the German campaign consists of like 7 different missions. And you can choose each mission how you want, and you're rated based on how you do. In each one of those missions, you can you know, select up to, there's 3 different generals or officers you can select, and each one has their own specialties and skills and tactics and so forth. And so yeah, so that's the German campaign. The Soviet campaign is pretty much the same thing. There's 7 different battles. Now, the one thing I would point out is it starts out really easy, and then the difficulty goes up as you go. Like, each one of the missions gets harder and harder. Let's say, for example, we want to do this mission right here. Okay, simple enough. You know, we've got 3 different guys to pick from. One guy, this general has support doctrine. This one's an infantry specialist. This guy specializes in armored doctrine. And then we'll see the Allied campaign, or the American campaign. There's 7 different missions there. And, you know, it's pretty much the same thing. You've got infantry specialist, armored specialist, support specialist. And you got all these different options you can add. You know, you can have the hatches open on the tanks. You can have smoke discharge, which can be effective in some areas and hide in your tanks. Riflemen can, you know, have a lot of different stuff. You can have more accurate artillery. You know, there's a bunch of different stuff you can use. You can have, you know, sandbag covers, sandbags for your bunkers and so forth. It also has, skirmishes. You can set up a countryside, beach, siege, frozen river. It's got a lot of different setups, a lot of different things you can do, and so forth. Yeah. So in closing, I really like this game. Definitely worth taking a look at. If you like this type, like RTS games, real time strategy games, it's definitely worth taking a look at. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I am signing out. Thank you for watching.